Brother Bear was directed by two tried-and-true animators, Aaron Blaise and Robert Walker, neither of whom had ever helmed their own project before directing this film, and it shows. While there are some good ideas at play here, they're muddled by a mess of creative decisions that, in my opinion, don't make a whole lot of sense. And one of them is the decision to start the movie in a 4:3 aspect ratio and then change it to widescreen about a quarter of the way in. I get the idea behind it. It's supposed to metaphorically represent the main character's view of the world getting wider when he becomes a bear. So the screen literally gets wider. I get it, but this makes the film's opening feel weirdly restricted visually due to having less room on the screen to actually work with. And I can only imagine how many people who screened this movie thought the entire thing was in 4:3 upon starting it and zoomed their display in, never realizing that the movie eventually changes to widescreen. On that note, the storyboarding in this film also seems a little bit off at times. There's an over-reliance on close-ups that makes a lot of this film's action feel more claustrophobic than it should. Compound that with the shrunken aspect ratio at the beginning of the film, and the audience's field of view feels strangely diminished. You just don't get the dramatic and emotional shots that other Disney films are known for, and it really kind of stifles the film's drama. Just compare the sequence in which a main character dies in this film to the stampede sequence from The Lion King. Whereas The Lion King creates shots that emphasize the massive scale and emotional implications of this sequence, this film just hits us with a bunch of immobile wide shots and some claustrophobic close-ups for good measure. Other times, bad storyboarding can create problems. For instance, a character will put his spear down directly behind him, will cut away, and then when we cut back, his spear will have teleported like 2 meters away just so that he can't grab it fast enough to generate tension within the scene. Oh, and Phil Collins did the soundtrack, and his lyrics they have no subtlety whatsoever. He just bluntly states what's going on screen at all times.
This has to be the most beautiful, the most peaceful place I've ever been.
But if we're really gonna rip into this movie, we have to talk about its worst attribute: its story. The plot of Brother Bear is as follows. Kenai, voiced by the Joker, is a young boy who wants to do right by his tribe, but one day he leaves out a basket of salmon that gets taken by a bear.
You didn't tie it up, did you?
No, it took me 2 weeks to make that basket.
I'll go get your basket.
And you don't even have to ask it. In an attempt to redeem himself, he very smartly tries to 1v1 this fully grown bear and reclaim his fish. Once it's clear he's in trouble, his brothers race after him to assist, and one of them dies, saving Kenai's life.
Sitka! Sitka! Sitka, where are you?
Grief-stricken, Kenai and his surviving brother, Denahi, hold a funeral for their fallen kin, and then Kenai, being the genius protagonist that he is, swears vengeance on the bear and sets out to 1v1 it again.
Killing that bear won't make you a man.
A man wouldn't just sit here and do nothing.
What are you doing? You already got one of your brothers killed by doing this, my guy. What the fuck? By the skin of his teeth, he manages to kill the bear this time, but then the spirit of his dead brother, Sitka, suddenly shows up and decides to turn him into a bear, to teach him a lesson about it's not cool to go around hating bears. But at that exact moment, Denahi shows up and assumes Kenai has been killed, thinking that the bear in front of him is the culprit, and as such, vows to kill the bear Kenai has become. Hey, Spirit of Sitka, cool plan and all, but do you think that maybe the best way to teach your brother a lesson wasn't to transform him into an animal and then pit your other living brother against him, putting him in mortal danger? I think there may have been better ways to go about this personally. So Kenai runs away and meets some Canadian moose.
Please don't eat us! You wouldn't like us, eh? We're really gay!
They show up a lot throughout the movie, not sure why, and then Kenai meets a smaller bear. A brother bear. This is Coda, and over the rest of the movie they develop a complicated and poorly paced relationship. There's a point in the movie where Kenai and Coda have a tender bonding scene together.
Thanks, Sitka. If it weren't for you, I would have never met Kenai.
And then instantly have a falling out in the very next scene.
Why don't you just grow up?
Fine, I'll just go on my own then.
Fine, go ahead.
And then immediately make up in the scene after that. It doesn't matter though, because they have another falling out shortly after this. Kenai realizes that the bear he killed was Coda's mom.
She stands up real big and yells, "Go away!" I've never been so scared in my life.
Going after the bear.
Coda?
What follows is the crowning jewel of the movie, which is the scene where Kenai confesses to Coda what really happened.
You know that story you told me last night?
Yeah.
Well, I have a story to tell you.
What's it about?
Something so bad.
Everywhere I turn, I hurt someone. You trusted me, believed in me, and I let you down.
Why does the movie decide at this precise moment to channel an 80s music video? I don't know, but it it kind of takes some of the impact away from a scene where the main character tells his best friend that he kind of sort of killed his mom. But hey, it's really funny. Thank you, Phil Collins.
So Coda runs away, but then he sees the Canadian moose from earlier. They seem to be in an argument.
Let it go.
I can't believe you totaled a mammoth,
Oh,
eh?
come on.
Afraid I cannot accept your
It
apology.
was in my blind spot.
But then they make up because of the power of love.
Being a brother means nothing to you.
Well, what about the time your hooves froze in the pond? Who sat with you all winter, eh?
You did.
Because I love you. I can change.
Hey, not there. That's the spot.
And having witnessed this, Coda decides he wants to make up with Kenai now. This emotional beat does not work, and I'm not only saying that because it's paced terribly, though that doesn't help. It's kind of disingenuous to imply that this moose argument is at all applicable to the falling out that Coda's had with Kenai. This isn't just a little spat. He killed your mom, man. The anger is justified.
So Kenai, being all sad, decides to take a stroll, and when he's in the middle of nowhere, Denahi shows up to finish him off. But then, just in the nick of time, Coda shows up to save him. How did he know where they were? Does it really matter at this point? But this puts Coda in danger, meaning that Kenai has to sacrifice himself to save his brother, Bear. And this selfless act proves that he's learned his lesson about something, and thus Sitka finally changes him back into a human, because pitting his surviving brothers against each other, I guess, just wasn't entertaining anymore.
But then he decides he actually wants to be a bear forever now.
He needs me.
You don't have to permanently transform yourself into a bear to look after Coda. You could do it as a human. Is Denahi really okay with this?
You know, he did look better as a bear.
He doesn't mind his brother transforming himself into a bear after spending the entire movie trying to hunt bears out of vengeance. He comes around quick. It feels like the movie is just bending the characters to its will because it wants to hit a certain beat in its climax. And on that note, this is one of those Disney films that kind of loses its message in execution. The film is very pro-conservation of nature, pro-pacifism, which on its face is fine, but the way it goes about presenting that message is to imply that humans and bears can and should coexist peacefully. It even ends with the implication that bears can be domesticated. Like, I understand saying that you shouldn't go out and kill bears for no reason in a modern setting, but when we're talking about people that live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, they don't have a choice. Bears wandering into your house and stealing your shit actually is dangerous. I think the moral of this film should have focused more on the revenge is bad side of things rather than whatever it went with instead. It's a Disney movie, I get it. It's not a representation of reality, but bears are not dogs. I need to know that you guys know that. Bears are not dogs. They're in fact very different. You know that video you just watched? Well, guess what? It was actually a snippet from a larger video that you can watch here, if you have the time. I mean, I guess it's up to you. I would recommend you watch it, but you know, it's your call. I mean, I don't have time to wait on you anyways. I got birds to feed. But please watch it.